A massive debris field of smoking wreckage and twisted metal, dotted with personal belongings of 298 people, is all that remains of Malaysian Airlines Flight 17 tonight. Among the victims, at least one Canadian. This is one of the last known images of the plane just before taking off from Amsterdam's International Airport just after noon local time. On board, 283 passengers and 15 crew members en route to Kuala Lumpur. But 4 hours into the flight, air traffic control lost contact with the plane as it flew over eastern Ukraine, approaching the Russian border. We'll take the pulse in Washington and Moscow in a moment and look at what may have happened. But first, to the crash itself. The CBC's Margaret Evans leads our coverage tonight from London.
Wendy, there are still many unanswered questions tonight, and there is still much speculation.
The unthinkable. The wreckage of Malaysian Flight MH17 strewn across the remote farmland of eastern Ukraine. No known survivors, just an echo of their hopes and their plans, and a billowing horror hanging in the air. Eyewitnesses on the ground trying to describe it. I heard 2 explosions, says this man. Everything was black. There was fighting, says another, and I heard shooting in the sky, several shots, a loud bang. I was scared and looked up. I saw fragments flying in different directions. A tweet by Malaysian Airlines confirmed it had lost radar contact with the Boeing 777 en route from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur earlier in the day. The last known position was over Ukrainian airspace, it said. Soon, Malaysia's Prime Minister was addressing the world with devastating news again involving a Malaysian flight. He said there was no distress call.
No stone will be left unturned. If it transpires that the plane was indeed shot down, we insist that the perpetrators must swiftly be brought to justice.
Eastern Ukraine, of course, has been racked by conflict in recent weeks. Pro-Russian separatists fighting the Ukrainian army in a low-grade but increasingly violent battle. The crash site is not far from the Russian border, in an area where the rebels hold sway. Their claims to have shot down 2 Ukrainian military planes this past week is fueling speculation that a rebel launcher felled the Malaysian airliner. U.S. officials have said they believe the plane was hit by a surface-to-air missile.
The 2 best sources for working out from where it was launched would be satellite imagery, and I suspect a lot of NATO and other military satellites are keeping a close watch on what's going on in Ukraine, as well as, I'm sure, Russian satellites.
Ukrainian officials have lost no time blaming the rebels, releasing what they say are intercepted telephone conversations proving the rebels shot down the plane. The country's president, Petro Poroshenko, offered condolences to the Dutch Prime Minister and invited him to send investigators. We call it neither accident nor catastrophe, he said. It's a terrorist attack. The pro-Russian rebels deny it, blaming the Ukrainian military, a foreshadowing of the diplomatic storm that is sure to come in days ahead. The human storm is another story. Scenes of grief-stricken relatives at the departure and destination airports, piercing.
We're also hearing tonight, Wendy, that the rebels in the east of Ukraine, the pro-Russian rebels, might be willing to consider a truce to allow investigators to reach the crash site safely. That is certainly something that the Malaysian Prime Minister had been asking for.
And we're hearing reports about one key piece of the investigation, the black box.
Some of the separatist rebels have apparently claimed that they've found the black box, that they've recovered it from the crash site. They say they're willing to send it to Russian authorities. We can't confirm that, but if it is proven to be true, it will not please the Ukrainians. It will be one more source of contention.
Thanks so much, Margaret. Margaret Evans tonight.